got an arsenal, bring you up to speed with what you need. He's the local and nationwide news feed. Let's talk about it. Dialect to do something about it. Chip got the flow wide open if you got questions about it. Man, it's the show that brings you to your raw. To solve all problems, it starts with real talk. Real talk. It's 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 real talk. Yeah. Welcome to Real Talk with your host, Chip Washington. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
And here we go on this Monday evening in the city. It is September 25th, 2023, 6 o'clock straight up, which means it is time for Real Talk Memphis. And it is I'm very happy to have you here. I'm also very happy to be here myself. I am your humble host, Chip Washington. It's good to be in the place and sitting in the air chair once again following the level Lola right before us kind of puts us in that mood. Now I don't want to ask her anymore. See, apparently I ask her every week when she plays her outro before we come on. I say, well, who is that? And she says, that's the Roots. So I'm gonna have to commit that to memory now. That is her. That's her out theme music, the Roots. But another great show, and we hope to have a great show for you this evening. Again, welcome in. If you can spend the next hour with us, I think you will thank us for it after it is all over. We have a great guest list for you. But how do you get this fine piece of radio broadcasting? Yes, indeed. Well, a number of ways, actually. 91.7 on your FM dial, which is what we are on right now on your radio dial. You can also catch us on the WYXR app, the TuneIn app. We are downstreaming the show this evening live streaming the show on Facebook Live this evening. And we are going to be on YouTube when the show posts tomorrow afternoon. And as we are a podcast, you can catch us wherever you get your podcast after, of course, the show has been posted. So good to have you here with us. I think we have a pretty good show for you tonight. I hope you think we have a good show for you this evening. Our first guest in just a few minutes will be City Councilwoman District 3, Patrice Robinson. We hadn't had Patrice on the show in quite a while, and it would be good to have her. Talk to her. She's finishing up her second term as the councilwoman. So she is term limited. So she's not running for re-election. But we're going to talk to her about the last 8 years, the highs, the lows, where we are as a city right now. And we're also going to talk, she was recently appointed to a very special committee. And this particular board is one that would be of interest to all of us here in Memphis and Shelby County. She'll tell us all about that in just a few minutes. We will also be speaking with Vinessa Brown. Many of you are familiar with the organization Lifeline to Success, and that basically is an organization that helps to reestablish individuals who have been in prison, reestablish themselves in the communities and the neighborhoods, back to their families, and try to get them reacclimated again to a life outside of bars. She, too, and that organization was the recipient of a very large grant award, some $500,000, and she'll talk a little to us about that, what she plans on doing with that money, and how this will help them to continue their mission and their momentum. And in the second half hour, the good Reverend Dr. Reginald Boyce will join us on the show. This is the first time he's been on the show as well. He's the senior pastor, of course, from Riverside Missionary Baptist Church here in town. He's also the founder of an organization called Empower 901, which works for Risk Youth, and he's going to talk to us about that organization and what else he is got his eye on here in the city of Memphis. But it is that time of the broadcast, of course, when we take time out to celebrate you and your current trip around the sun. All of us, don't we have best laid plans, right? We don't always make it. But when the Lord smiles upon you and says, hey, I'm going to allow you to have another birthday, we can't help but to celebrate that. But in order to do that with the shout out, we can't do any of that until I say, hit it, Bryn. A lot of birthdays, too, by the way, on this particular day. And a few I want to mention that are coming up. Happy birthday going out to Elaine Curran, Stacey Hamlet, Rolanda Davis, Wanda Faye Robinson. Louis Cadell is celebrating today. Marsha Sanders is, okay. Lola was giving me the high sign. She got one, too. Marshall Sanders is celebrating his birthday today. Huh? Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Okay, let me back up. Wanda Faye Robinson is Lola's auntie, so that deserves a special shout out right there. Let's see here. Stacey Patton celebrating a birthday today, as is Dee Dee Jones, Diane Hampton, Annette McNeil, and a friend of mine, long time. I know this guy a long time. He's in Washington, D.C., so he won't hear it. Wisdom Martin celebrating his birthday today. He's a news anchor out there in Washington, D.C. And the Reverend Earl Fisher, Pearl Walker, and Darcy Thomas are all celebrating their birthdays in the next day or two. So I wanted to make sure I shouted them out as well. So to each and every one of you, happy birthday, happy celebration. I hope it's been a day filled with fun and laughter. And we hope to be with you as we celebrate your next trip around the sun next year. Next year, I'll have to have Lola introduce her aunt, Wanda Faye Robinson. So thank you, Bryn, and congratulations to each and every one of you. So this is the final week of early voting. Next week, there is a very big election for mayor and city council happening. I don't know how many. I didn't get a current number, but I know at least about 6,000 plus people have voted, early voted so far in this race. You have this week until Saturday. If you plan on going out to vote early, that ends on Saturday. And of course, after that, you'll have to wait until next week until election day happens. Many of you are familiar now, have heard about the 9 sheriff's corrections deputies that were indicted last week in connection with the death of Gershon Freeman in the jail. That happened sometime in October, about a year ago, last year. 2 of the 9 were actually charged with second-degree murder and aggravated assault, and the others were charged with aggravated assault resulting in a death. Well, the Gershon family attorney, Ben Crump, was in town today, and he had a press conference, and of course the Freeman family was there, and a lot of emotion, and of course the family wants justice. Not only for Gershon, they want the officers taken to task, and we'll have to wait and see what happens with this. Things are just getting started, but all of them were arrested, they were indicted, and the last of the 9 actually turned himself in a couple of hours ago. So now all 9 of them have been arrested, and we will wait to see what the next court case holds. There was a body found in the Mississippi River on the West Memphis side a couple of days ago. We have heard that it is a female body, but no ID has been released as of yet. The search for Tamara Taylor is still continuing. We don't know if that was her or not. That the body that was found, she's the 21-year-old Covington mother of 2 that was celebrating her birthday 2 weeks ago. This past weekend, and she was on a booze cruise here in Memphis, wound up leaving out, and when they came back, she was no longer on the boat. So we will continue to lift her in prayer in hopes that she will be found. There was a shooting in Covington over the weekend up on Highway 51 up there. 5 people shot Saturday night at the event center up there. One of the 5, a 20-year-old Tamya Ewing died of her injuries. The other 4 are still hospitalized. Evidence suggests that there were multiple shooters on the scene, but there have been no suspects arrested as of yet. That's a very sad situation in terms of that. But nothing that, unfortunately, we haven't been accustomed to around here. It was another violent weekend here in Memphis with several shootings out there as well. So 2 quick sports notes. First of all, the University of Memphis lost to Missouri over the weekend. So that was their first loss of this young season. And, of course, everybody was waiting to see what Colorado was going to do against Oregon. And Colorado shouldn't have got on the plane headed to Oregon because they got completely, it was a classic butt whooping. They got beat, I think it was 41-6 over the weekend. So guess what? Deion Sanders' prime is human, and so are his players. And that beatdown showed a lot of deficiencies in that team. And this coming Saturday night, they have another tough opponent because they play my University of Southern California Trojans this weekend. So we will be looking forward to that and see how that plays out as well. So that is a quick look at news and notes for this Monday evening. We are going to take our first break of the night. And when we come back, we're going to engage in conversation with an old friend and someone we all know and love, Memphis City Councilwoman Patrice Robinson, right here on this edition of Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. You know who you are. Our first break of the night, and we'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
WYXR is supported by the On Stage at the Halloran Center season, presenting the Memphis Songwriters Series, hosted by Mark Eggers Stewart. Mark and his musical guests take audiences on a journey behind the music, sharing personal stories and introducing new works. The first event of the season is on Thursday, September 28th, and will feature John Namath, Sarah Spain, and Dion James. More information at orpheum-memphis.com.
Goner Records is proud to sponsor WYXR. The 20th Goner Fest is coming to Rail Garden Thursday, September 28th through Sunday, October 1st, featuring bands from all over the globe, including the OCs, the Gories, the Mummies, Coffin, Sweeping Promises, Marked Men, and over 20 more bands and DJs. Ticket and streaming information at gonerfest.com.
Want to be the first to know who's performing at Raised by Soundfest this year? Join us at Crosstown Brewing Company for the WYXR Raised by Soundfest lineup reveal party on Tuesday, September 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. RSVP for free at reveal.raisedbysoundfest.com.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this beautiful, hot Monday. You know, the calendar Saturday said we were supposed to be in fall, but somebody fooled us because it was 91 degrees today, and apparently it's going to be in the upper 80s, near 90 every day this week. So just prepare for that. Welcome back to the show, and also welcome back, an old friend, and actually a family friend too. She is a current sitting city councilwoman in District 3. She is in her second term, winding that down, and she is Patrice Robinson. And Patrice, it's great to see you, my friend. How are you?
I am well, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you, Chip.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking some time to come. So, Patrice, obviously a lot going on in the city. You are winding up your second term, your term limited, and we'll talk about your next venture in just a couple of minutes. But what I want to start out with is, as you start to wind things down in your term, and you start to look back a bit, it's been 8 years since you've been on the council, made a lot of decisions that impacted a lot of folks. When you look back now, maybe share with us some of the highs and some of the lows and some of the things that you feel most proudest of in terms of your accomplishments.
I am so excited that you even asked that question. One, I've provided for my community, District 3, everybody in my district have had an opportunity to know what services are provided by the city, not only the city, but for the county as well. Mm-hmm. I want to prepare my constituents so that moving forward, whether I'm here or not, that they know where to go, what to get, what they need, and how to maneuver in those areas.
It was very important for you to set a template, wasn't it? I mean, when you ran the first time and you won, I mean, obviously there were a lot of challenges ahead, but it was important to sort of set, as you just mentioned, kind of mm-hmm. set a pace and really, you have a large constituency out there. All those folks out there love you, and there's a lot to do in terms of service. So when you first got elected, you set a template of service. What did you, when you first became a city councilwoman, what were some of the goals that you wanted to set for yourself?
Number one was make sure that I provided for the citizens of District 3 a newsletter. My uncle worked for the Chamber of Commerce, Clifford Stockton. His last conversation before he took his last breath was make sure that you have a Patrice's Express, and we did that so that we can not only communicate with my district, but anybody who needed information about what's going on in the city. And let me tell you, the best reviews I got were from judges and other elected officials because now they know what's going on. Yeah. My second thing was to make sure that because my district is so large, and we have distinct boutique communities, Whitehaven, Oak Haven, Hickory Hill, Fox Meadows. I did 4 times the work rather than having one community meeting every quarter. I had 4 so that I could make sure that I covered the unique opportunities in each of those communities and let them know that I was concerned about them, what they wanted for their areas. Third thing was that Whitehaven we haven't had the investment that we needed down on our end. Right. We had a real nice community center out in Hickory Hill. They have the nicest pool in the city of Memphis out there. They had lots of places to sit down and eat. They were concerned about their streets needing to be paved. They were concerned about citizens putting trash down. But in Whitehaven, I didn't have a place to sit down and eat except for Piccadilly. The Y was about to close, and they did close it my first year. They tore it down. Then they wondered, what we're going to do next? So Councilwoman Robinson picked up the bootstraps and said, come on, guys, we're going to raise this money and we're going to do this Y. Our schools were doing well in the community. We had an empowerment zone, but we wanted to make sure that parents were more engaged. We wanted to make sure that our business community was supported. So we stood up a program that was basically here but was not functioning, and that's the Greater Whitehaven Economic Redevelopment Corporation. Right. Now the community has a foundation and they can move forward without me. All they need to do now is continue the work that we began right here. Oak Haven area has a lot of challenges, but we worked over there as well. We made sure that now we include East Haven in the process, and there's a church and a pastor over there that's really excited about it. Diane Young over at the Healing Center has a place for people to come and get the care that they need with mental health issues. And we partnered with them, the city of Memphis. We made sure the parks were cleaned up in the whole district. We did cleanups throughout the district. I can't think of anything that we didn't put our finger on.
That's a lot. And, one of the things that, and I don't go to Whitehaven a lot, but when I do, I notice, nice wide streets. It looks it looks like it's a transformed community,
We're getting there.
Absolutely.
We still got problems now, but we're getting there.
Yeah, but in a lot of respects, heading in the right direction. When you talk about, all that, the work and all that has been accomplished there, there have been more than enough share in terms of challenges. What are some of the major challenges that you had found yourself facing in your 2 terms in office?
My major challenge in the Whitehaven community has been with our young people with these acts of crime and violence. And that's something we're working with throughout the whole city. And I was so shocked one day. I pulled up to the corner of Mill Branch and Rains Road. And they had a little show, with the cars where you spin around in the street and blocked off all the streets. Sure. Yeah. So I said, you all just let Councilwoman Robinson through. You know what they said to me? What's a councilwoman?
Okay. All right.
And I heard gunshots over there. I'm going, okay, we've got to get some control on this. We've got to have more cameras. We've got to have more people involved in the process. And we've got to work with our young people. These were not to me, these were our children. They were dressed like they were going to an event for the evening. They had nice cars, so I knew that they were middle class families. So we really got to have more programming for our young people and ensure that they get connected. Now we do have a Blue Cross Blue Shield Park, and people really appreciate that, and we need more activities like that in our community. We are also now expanding our Whitehaven Community Center. We have a splash pad there for the kids, some urban art, and we're going to have a banquet room. We've never had one. So you can see the building being erected at this point. So we have a lot going on, but our major challenge has been keeping that trash off the street. Yeah. And that's personal. I could consider it personal. Our citizens are going to have to make up their minds that they're going to cooperate in this process. When we were children, and I'm sure you remember this, you couldn't drop paper on the ground at school or at the library or anywhere. You had to pick it up. Right. Our children don't even get that experience anymore. But we've got to work on that as a community.
So one of the issues that you had to deal with as a body head on was, of course, the very tragic death of Tyree Nichols. And I was at several of the meetings where there were protesters and activists who were seeking systematic change within the police department. You all as a body voted for some of the ordinances to make certain changes in terms of that. Patrice, what troubles you the most about, where we are in terms of law enforcement? It clearly seems like there is a big time level of mistrust between the community and law enforcement from various issues that have occurred. And then what do you hope to see, by those ordinances and by maybe changes moving forward, by the DOJ being here? What are you looking at in the future?
So I do not believe in defunding the police. That is not the answer in our community. But I do believe in reforming, and I do believe in community policing. I had an opportunity in my past life to work in a school where we had an opportunity for a COAC unit to be right there in the building with us. And it made a difference in the community. I was right over there, right across the street from Foot Homes, right next door to Claiborne Homes. So it was a very challenged community, but it worked when we had community policing. I believe that as a community, as we come together and as the police officers work together and have the leadership that they need, the training they need, and to make their commitment to the community to give it their best, we'll all be better off.
So there's a big election next week, as you know, for the mayor and for the city council. There is a lot on the line here. The history of this city shows that not too many people are interested in terms of the turnout numbers, 20-25%, which is very low considering all the people that are registered to vote in this city. We have 17 candidates, which means the vote is going to be split. How consequential is this election to you?
It's very consequential. It says a lot about us and our community. We couldn't come together on just a couple of candidates. We have not demanded really anything of the candidates. They've shared what they like to see. But what have we told them? These are the 3 things that we want. Now, all you need to do is tell us how you're going to make it happen. There's a lot of conversation around that. Our electorate are not that interested in voting. You can look at the numbers. I looked at them today and I said, oh my God, usually my district is pretty high, but we've got District 5 that's outpacing me right now, and even District 6. So I do believe that we need to look at trying to get people more excited about it. And I'm glad you're talking about that today, because we want people to get out and vote now. And if they don't make it by September 30th, I need them at the polls on October 5th. That is their civic duty.
So before I let you go, you were recently appointed to a very important board, and I believe you are the first person of color to be. And I don't know if that's the case or not, but you were recently appointed to the TVA board, which is a huge deal. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And that does have local ramifications for a lot of folks, does it not?
Yes, it does. Tennessee Valley Authority serves 7 states in the South, and then we call it the Valley. However, it is important to all of us because they determine what the electricity will cost, if it's available to you, how the sustainability of the electricity. But what's even more important to us is that we want to make sure that our electricity is affordable, that it's sustainable, and that we have an opportunity to continue providing those services to the Valley. Now, what's important to me in Memphis, Tennessee, where I live, is that we look at weatherization and how TVA can, in their department, as they look at what can we do in other areas of our community, especially economic development. I believe that's something that our city could really use, but we have such old housing stock. Yeah. We don't want this electricity coming in and going out the window with the air because we don't have what we need for our community. I am not the first African American that served on the TVA board, but I will be the first one coming back in a while.
Absolutely. Well, listen, congratulations on that. And, you may be gone from the council, but you surely won't be forgotten. Patrice Robinson, City Councilwoman, District 3. Patrice, thank you for coming on the show tonight. It's good to see you, and congratulations on 8 years. You still have a little more work to do, but congratulations on the improvements that we have seen in your area, and we hope that you come back down the road to talk a little bit about the TVA as we move forward.
Of course I will. And I have been nominated. I've got to go through a confirmation process with the Senate, so I need the audience prayers. Don't forget me. We
will never forget you, Patrice Robinson. Patrice, thank you. It's great to see you, and we'll talk down the road.
Quite welcome.
All right, take care.
Okay.
All right, bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. That's a good way to start the show off. We are going to take a break. Great to see Patrice. Hadn't seen her in a while. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to continue, and we're going to talk a little bit about an organization that is doing amazing things to help folks reunite in our communities, as well as doing good deeds in our community as well. This is Real Talk Memphis. I am Chip. Hi, good to see you. And good for you to hear us, by the way. I keep forgetting. Sometimes this Facebook Live thing kind of messes with you because folks can see you, but a lot of you listen, and I appreciate that as well. Quick break. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Music Export Memphis presents the Tambourine Bash, Thursday, October 12th at the historic Overton Park Shell. This annual celebration of collaboration is a one-of-a-kind night of Memphis music featuring more than 30 musicians and collaborative sets, culminating in a finale super jam produced by Royal Studios' Boo Mitchell. All proceeds power Music Export Memphis's grant programs for Memphis musicians. Ticket information and event details can be found at musicexportmemphis.org.
Support for WYXR comes from the Overton Park Shell, presenting the Drive-By Truckers on Saturday, October 7th. This is part of the Shell Yeah concert series to benefit the Overton Park Shell, established in 1936. Tickets and more information at overtonparkshell.org.
Minglewood Hall is proud to support WYXR. On Monday, October 30th, they will host Birmingham-based soul band St. Paul and the Broken Bones. The night will begin with an opening set by soul and country music singer Maggie Rose. More information regarding tickets can be found at minglewoodhall.com.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Chip with you. And my next guest is someone who is, I would say she's a community servant, dedicated to the community. She heads an organization called Lifeline to Success. And Lifeline to Success is a group that basically works with individuals who have been previously in prison, incarcerated, and helps them to try to reattach themselves to normal life. And they also do very, very good work in our community. Please welcome Vinessa Brown to the show. Vinessa, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming on Real Talk. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation.
Absolutely. So Lifeline to Success is an organization that's been around for a few years, Vinessa, but for folks who don't know what your organization is about and what it does, please let our listeners know.
We are a prison reentry program, and basically I make it real simple. We love on the people that come into our building. We work with men and women that have aggravated felonies. Please do not touch my door if you don't have a felony, because that's who we cater to. And we make sure that they understand that they're whole, that they are important, and they matter, and they are important in this area.
You know, having said that, I'm sure that one of the great challenges is when they do get out, they have to reestablish themselves all over. They have to start all over again, don't they? And I mean, obviously, that wears on you mentally in terms of all of that. But you're really almost, I guess, a good way to describe it. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Is really, helping them to start all over again. Am I correct in that?
You are, because we get men and women that have just come out of prison. We have men and women that have been in society for a while and just cannot get what they deserve. So we deal with a lot of people, and the joy of my job is I am the mama of the office. So if I can care for someone and give them all that they need, we may not have all the answers, but we're going to find them.
There is an inequity here, Vinessa. We all know that in terms of individuals who are, who are coming back and want to do right and want to be right and want to take care of their families and their homes and their responsibilities. But there's always been a bit of a disconnect here in this city and county in terms of that, in terms of giving them this opportunity. How important has Lifeline to Success been in terms of breaking down those walls and breaking down those barriers, especially with the elected folks around here and some of the issues that you have to deal with?
There's a fight that we have. And if you've served your time and did everything you're supposed to do, you are deserving of anything. So the hard part about the job is to make sure that the men and women understand who they are, and then to bring out their talents, because they are brilliant. And I think that's what we're missing. Just because you've been behind walls, what they forget is Jesus went to prison.
Mm-hmm.
So just because you've been behind walls, don't discount them. Because when they get out, they will blossom. The people that I have seen come through, we've done this since 2009,
right.
And we've seen over 2,000 people. I can tell you, when they understand that they matter in this community, you all better watch out.
So, having said everything you said in terms of that, and it's so very, very true, your organization was recently awarded a major grant, a $500,000 grant from the U.S. Attorney's Office. And that's huge, first of all. Congratulations on that. And I know that you have to be ecstatic about it. What are your plans in terms of that award? How do you break that down? And I mean, clearly it should help you to move forward in a lot of some of the programmatics that you're dealing with.
Yes, we got it from the United States government. So This is an appropriation. So the Congress and the Senate had to vote for us to get this.
Oh, wow.
It is a true gift, and we thank Congressman Cohen for putting our name in the hat. He's been working with us for 13 years, and in the 13th year, he said we were ready. The money is for some training that we're going to do. We have a transitional home that will be up and running on the 28th of October. And within that transitional home, there will be 6 men in that home. And we are looking at, how do we train? We train during the day from 9 to noon. They go out to work from noon to the street lights come on. What happens if you give them continuous care for where they stay, in a place that they put their hands on and built? And that's what this money is going to go towards: some extra counseling, some extra case management, and some extra teaching, and some other things like more construction work, small engine work, auto body work, giving them the skills that they need to move on past where we're living. That's
incredible. That's incredible, and it really speaks to the mission of your organization. You also do a lot of work, and I assume this is still going on, helping cleaning up the city in various areas, helping with blight and things like that. Is that still happening, Vinessa?
Oh, Blight Patrol is always going on. That's the first step to getting to understand work ethic. And what we do is we mitigate blighted areas in the city and make sure that everyone's home values increase to make sure the city looks beautiful.
They stay with you in terms of, is there a residential component to your organization? And, in terms of the grant, and you mentioned some of the things that you want to do with that, but is that part of that as well? So residential requirements?
Oh, yeah. The transitional home that's the main part of it. We were blessed to be donated a home. We were blessed that Mary Beth Conley and her husband, Rick, are renovating the home with some support from TVA.
Oh, great.
And this is where men and women will be moving in. And TVA and the construction people have supported the men in learning how to do demolition and renovation.
That's incredible. And again, for people to see the hard work that you all have been putting into this, you and your husband, since 2009, it seems to be paying off. I was thinking about what you said a minute ago, but Congressman Cohen said after 13 years, you're ready. And this will take you, a mighty long way, to have this, first of all, being placed within the walls of Congress,
Yes.
is a big enough deal. And then having them to approve what it is that you're doing has to say to you that, even days when, your spirits may not be as high as they should be, the work is being noticed, the work is being recognized, and we are doing something to save people. That's got to be very gratifying to you, I would imagine.
What I have to say, it's the work of the men and women that come in. Mr. Brown is now over at Shelby County Office of Reentry,
right,
but his teaching still sticks. And we give the tools. That's all we're doing, is giving the tools. I can't make anyone do anything. So the men and women that come in, they take heed. And this is what the work that they are doing. So I am honored to be able to work for them.
The responsibility is pretty daunting in terms of this. When you talk to a lot of the folks who are in your program now, what are they telling you about how beneficial being a part of something is? what they're a part of is something very positive. It is very affirming. You mentioned that earlier in the conversation. But, when you have conversations with them one-on-one, either men or women, what are they telling you about, how much this program means to them and where they want to be in life?
The majority of the time, the men and women go through a program, and after a year or 15 months, the doors are closed. They graduate, that's it. Our doors are always open, and that's what they need. Sometimes we have some guys that they're doing great in life, but they have to come back home and just get a little reboost. So that's what we're there for. Doors don't close. You don't age out of the program. We are always there. And people always tell us, this is the craziest thing. You can't do that. Yes, we can. And this is how it works. They mentor each other. We're you know what? When you're dealing with human lives, it's so simple. And it is so simple just to tell someone, yes, you can. And if they say, no, we can't, I'm right here with you. Yes, you can. It is so simple to do this, but we don't want to. We always want our hands off. So what we get back is our team members come back and they pay it forward. They will either refer people for employment, they'll just come back and tell their story, or you know what, for me, I'm just happy to see them walk through the doors.
That's that's a wonderful thing. And when you said pay it forward, and they really motivate each other, and they encourage each other. New members walking in are feeling the same way that the older members who have been with you a while were feeling when they walked in. So they have a unique story and perspective on how to move forward. Am I correct in that?
You are. You've got to remember what their charges are. They're aggravated charges. So I've got some from bank robbers to murderers, from 2 years to 40 years that have been in prison, and they get along. We don't have problems in our office. They get along. They work together. And I want everyone to understand that. Give people a chance. When you give them a chance, you just don't know what you're going to see.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm so proud of the organization. I don't know if you remember, I actually spoke to the Blight folks years ago, Blight Patrol years ago, and we really enjoyed the spirit and the respect and the willingness, for them to know that what they're doing means something. It means something not only to themselves but to other people. That's correct. Yeah. You got it. And well, listen, I'm so proud of you and the organization as a whole. And of course, congratulations again on this grand award. Well deserved, obviously. Thank you. And all the work that you were doing. May God continue to shine his light on you and the entire organization for even more success in the future. And come back and visit us down the road. I sure will. Thank you so much, Chip. All right, take care. Ladies and gentlemen, now that you talk about success stories, that's a success story. Vinessa Brown and the folks over at Lifeline to Success. And let me tell you something. What she said is, we just want you to walk through the door. When you walk through the door, you are with family. You are home. You are with people who care. We don't care what you did. We care where you're going, and we care what your future looks like. I love this, and I'm so happy for them and that organization, and everyone else should be as well. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we're going to shift gears a bit and talk to another gentleman, community leader, as I would like to call him, about the program that he is shepherding. This is Real Talk Memphis for a Monday evening. I'm Chip. We'll take another break, and we'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
WYXR is supported by Memphis Presents and GPAC, presenting Victor Wooten and the Wooten Brothers on Friday, November 3rd. The Wooten Brothers combine the talents of bassist Victor Wooten, Steve Miller Band keyboardist Joseph Wooten, guitarist Reggie Wooten, and drummer Roy Futureman Wooten. More information available at gpacweb.com. WYXR is supported by Mempho Presents, celebrating WYXR's 10th anniversary with a beer and music festival on Saturday, October 21st. BAM Fest will feature music from Memphis and beyond, with artists such as Lucero, Hank Sullivan, and Nathan Vanderpool from Blitz and Trapper. Simon Spine and Dead Soldiers will also take the stage. Intermissions will feature sets from DJ Leroy and live performances from the Stone Crush Memphis Modern Soul compilation. More information is available at memphopresents.com. WYXR is supported by Minglewood Hall, presenting jazz guitarist and innovator Pat Metheny live Tuesday, October 10th. More information regarding reserved seats at minglewoodhallmemphis.com.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis as the sun sets on another Monday in the city. Chip with you. And my next guest is someone I've known for a while, but he has never been on this show either. But we can rectify all that tonight. He's a very well-known pastor in our community. He's the senior pastor of Riverside Missionary Baptist Church, and he is also the founder of a very important program for at-risk youth. It is wonderful to welcome the good Reverend Dr. Reginald Boyce. And Reggie, it's great to see you, man. How you doing tonight?
I'm well, my brother. How are you?
Doing good. And thank you so much for taking some time to come on the show. Really appreciate it.
I'm honored and I'm grateful we had a chance to finally lock it in.
Absolutely that. And you are one of the most respected religious leaders in our community is an understatement. You're involved in so much, and people hold you in such high regard in our communities. I see that you're going to be involved in a lot of events. I had an interview earlier today with some folks from the NAACP who are having the prayer breakfast this weekend, and you're going to be one of the individuals giving the prayer, correct?
Yes, sir. To God be the glory. Yes, sir.
Absolutely that. And so, you've been doing it out here for a very long time. And, as a pastor, you obviously have, responsibility to your flock. But when you wake up, each day, what is your goal? What do you set out for that day to do in terms of trying to make a difference in this community?
Yeah, certainly. Number one, my first goal is just to make sure that I am taking advantage of the breath and the activities of my limbs that God has given me, right? Mm-hmm. It's just make sure I'm doing His will, that I'm operating in His will and not in His way. So whatever it is that God is trying to perform in our city, in our community, in whatever area I'm in, just making sure I'm thanking God for this opportunity, and then also asking God to empower me, to strengthen me, so that way I'm not just letting the day waste by. And now my ultimate goal is to help at least one person. If I know for a fact that I've put a smile on a person's face, led them to Christ, met a need, so if they were hungry, we fed them, or they needed a shirt on their back. I mean, if I can just do one thing that is impactful, that'll change a person's life, even if it's just for a moment, then I know for sure. It's an old adage, but it's true that my living's not in vain, and that day wasn't in vain.
We have a lot of challenges in our community, Reggie, as you well know, and many of us look to our religious leaders, as ones being on the front line. We're seeing a lot of things in our community that are unpleasant to us in terms of the violence that we are seeing. Many of it, seems to fall on our young folks who may have lost their way and need to be refocused and redirected. You founded an organization called Empower 901 for at-risk youth. Tell me first why you felt the need to create a program like this, and what you hope the benefits will be down the road.
Sure. Most of the time when we're trying to curb the violence and, try to turn offenders to not being repeat offenders and some type of justice reform. We're always dealing with adults. And I found out, for me, adults are hard to change because they're grown people, right? They've already made their minds. I'm not saying it's impossible for them to change. It's just a little bit more challenging.
Sure.
But when you have children who are involved in this cycle of crime, this cycle of behavior, they're a little bit more open to listen, and they're still, if you will, innocent enough as far as mentally. They're still growing, and the ground is still ready to till for them to listen and change their behavior. So I believe if we can stop it at the root, that we don't have to come back and find a person 10 years down the road. I won't forget it. Just a couple weeks ago, I was speaking with a young man who's in juvenile for murder. And he told me, he said, "Why do you all wait until we're in a place like this to reach out to us?"
Oh, wow.
And that kind of broke my heart.
Wow.
Now, honestly, we know there are people out there that's in communities and neighborhoods. It's just not enough of us. It's not enough of us. And so it looks as if for him, hey, he never heard of a chaplain before. He's he sees churches, but he never see the pastor. And so I felt like if we can go to where they are, reach them where they are, we can kind of change this pattern, this trajectory Memphis and Shelby County is on as far as with crime at this moment. So I felt there was a need to do something with our young people when it comes to criminal reform. But there's a special twist too with Empower 901. It is also a juvenile reentry program as well, right?
Oh, okay.
And so how do we reintroduce little Johnny, little Sarah, little Corey, little Reggie, whatever name you want to give them? How do we reintroduce them back to their community, to their society, back to their church? How do we reintroduce them back to their schools? Maybe they haven't been to school in the last few years or months, whatever the case may be. And so allowing them to have a reintroduction to the world and to society. And so we have it for adults. Memphis and Shelby County, we really haven't had a program as far as reentry specialized program for juveniles. And so that's what made me say, you know what? And I feel led. I mean, honestly, it's all God's work here. I felt led to be a part of this and to lead this, but not just by myself, obviously, but with a team of hard workers. So that's where it is. I hope that all made sense. But that's where the baby was created.
Well, that's very interesting. A juvenile reentry program, and I'm really still fixated on the conversation you had with the juvenile who asked you, why do you wait until, we're in this situation before you come? One of the things that I have heard, Reggie, and I've talked to a lot of people in this city about this, is especially in terms of the connection or reconnecting with our youth. Younger population, our juveniles, is you have to meet them where they are, and you mentioned that, and I want to piggyback off of that because that is extraordinarily important. That people need to understand. You can't stay separated. Like church is supposed to be beyond the four walls. These kids, a lot of them, aren't listening to too many messages. But you have to get out there and have a conversation with them to understand what the real issues are. Am I correct in that?
Listen, brother, the drug dealer meets them where they are. The gangbangers meet them where they are. Everybody that's trying to lead them in negative behavior, meet them where they are. So if you want to change that behavior, you have to go where they are, understand where they are, don't judge them. And which is, again, with the Empower 901, while it's focused on the youth, we understand that if the parents aren't winning, the families aren't winning, that child is going right back into that cycle. I found this out, that in most of these, when I have conversations with a lot of these, I don't like calling them juveniles. I call them friends when I'm there. When I have a lot of conversations with these younger men, most of the times the crime that they're doing, they're committing. They're trying to get money to help mom pay a light bill, pay her car note. We don't want to see mama struggle anymore. You really don't hear much about dad.
Yeah.
And even if there's dad in the house, they're always saying, I don't want to see my mama like this.
Yeah.
And so if mom is winning, then that child has a better opportunity to be successful. But when they feel like mom is struggling just to pay a light bill, well, for them, if I just go steal this car, that's all they're doing is stealing it, make some money off of it. That's why they're doing it the way they're doing it. It's all about flipping it real quick, just get a couple of dollars. So if we can at least deal with that part of it, you'll start seeing the crime numbers going down as far as just hitting some of those infections. And I think that the fact that some of these poverty, if you ask me what's one of the causes to the crime rate right now, I think it's poverty.
The disconnect that households have, we talk about the poverty rate for young people. It's about 33%, which is pretty high. And you talk about that connectivity, is being a part of that. When you spend time with these young people and you have conversation with them, Reggie, what are some of the main things that they're telling you about some of the issues that they are dealing with?
Sure. Most of them, they don't realize. So I started using this word trauma around them. They don't understand what trauma is. They can tell you what they've experienced. They don't know how to verbalize it and why they feel and do what they do. And so, for instance, some have seen dead bodies, their uncle get killed when they were 8 years old and things like that. So they're a lot of this stuff, they're retaliating and responding to what they've seen. They only do what they see and what they're told. And so that's what some of those children are telling me is, hey, or they got a brother that's in jail, that's bragging about it, things of that nature. So it's mainly broken homes, trauma. They don't know how to deal with grief. I had a young man who dad was murdered on his birthday. And it wasn't until we were just talking about grief in one of my classes. And he said, Pastor, that's when my behavior started to change, was that year. He said, I never knew that's why my behavior was changing, but that's the year I started getting in trouble. He didn't understand that the things he was doing, his grades dropping, him catching an attitude with his mom, and him, not really wanting to go to school anymore, had something to do with grief. And so we got to do better, I believe, with mental health, with grief, and helping people with their trauma so they can understand their behavior. Oftentimes, we just want to call a child bad, or they're just busy, or they're just mischievous. That's not the case. Something has happened. No one in this world was born bad. It's probably, we're humans, we're flesh. Don't get me wrong. We got bad tendencies in us, but you have to kind of shape and mold that, if you will, just like you have to do goodness.
Absolutely that. Well, listen, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. I was excited to have you. I hope that this won't be the last time you join me. We'll come on. But Reverend Dr. Reginald Boyce, ladies and gentlemen. Reggie, thank you for coming on the show, man. Really, really appreciate it.
Wow.
Your words were of value, and I look forward to having you come back to visit us down the road, okay?
We'll do it again. Thank you so much, and I appreciate this opportunity. May God continue to bless your work.
Absolutely. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. So ladies and gentlemen, that puts a wrap on this episode of Real Talk Memphis. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you listened to it. And if you like what we do as Brent plays us out, please tell a friend. Tanda Lynch has sent me a question on Facebook Live. She said, hello, Chip. Do you have any information on Tamia Taylor? And that's the young lady, 21-year-old, that was missing off the boat, off of the booze cruise. We have not heard anything yet in reference to her or findings or anything else. We do know that a female body was found over the weekend. We are praying that Tamia Taylor is safe, and we will keep you posted whenever we find out something in reference to that. But in the meantime, thank you all for checking us out this evening, whether you're listening, whether you're watching on live stream, or however you're doing it. I truly appreciate your support and your encouragement as we continue to try to do shows that mean something. Great show tonight. Great guest. Really enjoyed it myself. So for all of us here at Real Talk Memphis, for Lola, for Nicole, for Brent, and for your host, Chip, please have a safe week. Be careful out there. And until next time, we are out.